You can hire someone. They can do something for you that you couldn't do as efficiently or you may not want to do. And by the way, there's people out there that are sick enough to do the things that you hate. And there's people that are willing to do things that you're not as good at that allow you to leverage your time to do what you do very best, and that's why wealth can exist. You can hire someone. They can do something for you that you couldn't do as efficiently or you may not want to do. And by the way, there's people out there that are sick enough to do the things that you hate. Right? The woman that organizes my garage is crazy. And she loves it. She works extra hours for no pay because it's part of her obsession, right? Or once the New York Post wrote about me, they said, if you follow Gunderson's principles in killing sacred cows, then we're never going to have garbage men. No one wants to do these kind of jobs. But what they don't realize is just up the street from where we're recording here, there's a place called Brigham City, Utah, where the head of the sewage treatment plant loves his job. He will talk to you literally about crap all day if you let him. Like, people are just weird, right? You got to love it. There's this like divinity to diversity, and there's people that are willing to do things that you're not as good at that allow you to leverage your time to do what you do very best, and that's why wealth can exist. And if we all had the exact same abilities, we had all the same preferences, then it would be really hard to become wealthy because we'd just be loners all the time doing everything on our own. So, scarcity, the finite pie. When I wrote Killing Sacred Cows, that's the most important chapter. Because no matter what philosophy, strategy, anything else happens, if you're in scarcity, you're never going to feel wealthy. You're never going to feel truly happy. You're going to have plenty of stress that's invading into your life. And my intention with everything that we do here is it leaves you feeling three feelings. Number one, peace of mind. That you have peace of mind because when we go through today your financial health assessment and figure out from a safety and security standpoint where you're set, where you're not set, and where you have financial blind spots, you'll now know what you need to do, and there isn't this looming, I wonder if I'm okay. Like, have you ever had someone have something happen to them, maybe a health challenge, maybe a car accident, maybe a lawsuit, and then all of a sudden you're like, I wonder if I'm covered. And then that fear starts to creep in. Wouldn't it be nice to know ahead of time if you're taken care of and feel that feeling? The second thing is, I want to help you boost your cash flow. I want to help you keep more of every dollar that you make. Rather than letting Uncle Sam, rather than letting Wall Street, rather than letting financial institutions or insurance company take more than their fair share, because let's face it, the game is rigged against people. It is. I mean, if you're a financial institution, what do you want from people? If you're a bank, what are you looking for? Money, how often do you want it? And how long do you want to hold on to it for? And if someone wants to take a withdrawal, how much do you want to give them back? Okay, now you know the rules, right? They're pretty simple rules. That's why it's rigged against people. Because in this world of accumulation, we're taught high risk equals high return, save early, save often, put money in whether the market's going up or down, and yet that's not the rules that they're playing by. They're high risk. What's their high risk? Your money's at risk. They're getting paid whether you make money or not. Obviously, they'll get paid more if you make more. They're completely in the business as a financial institution on cash flow. So we're going to focus on cash flow investing and improving your cash flow. Instead of me asking for you to save more money and cut out things in your life, I want to find more money while we're here like a financial detective. You've got workbooks. We're going to go through it. You're allowed to hoop and holler and yell from the back of the room. That's totally cool, because it's kind of exciting to have money coming into your life. And we're actually going to teach you how to set up an account to have guilt-free spending. Has anyone ever had fully guilt-free spending, or do you spend and then you hear your mom in the background? I invited my mom to handle my personal books, so she handles a lot of she's my controller on my personal side, so she gets to see what I spend money on. And one of my favorite conversations is I bought a bottle of wine, and then her and my dad started kind of lecturing me on wine, and I'm not a wine connoisseur or anything, but my dad grew up on boxed wine, so I really don't value his opinion as much, Plus, before that, he was Mormon, so he wasn't even supposed to be drinking. So it's like, I got to be really selective here. But I just value different things, so I have value-based spending. They value having 5 vehicles for the 2 of them. Okay, that's their thing, I just have one for me and one for my wife. We don't need all those extra, but it's not about need, it's about want. And it's not about what other people think you should value, it's about what you value, and having full permission that when money shows up that was otherwise leaking or inefficient, that you get to take a portion of that and spend it exactly and however you want. You don't get that in a lot of financial, hey, thanks, yeah. Because if you don't enjoy the money and you don't follow the Rockefeller method, then you just have heirs that are waiting for you to die where they're going to blow it within 3 years anyway. I'd rather you enjoy it and then leave it and then have it continue forward. So we'll be challenging some of the status quo. We'll be challenging some of the things that most people think. And after peace of mind, the next thing I want to make sure that we elicit is financial confidence. I want you to be empowered. I want you to be independent. Sure, I'd love for all of you to work with us, but we can only work with some of you anyway because we only take on 125 clients a year. But I want to make sure that it's not me speaking jargon and sounding intelligent so that you feel like you're relying upon me. I want you to understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, how it works, and really cut through all the crap so it just gets to the heart of the matter so that when you leave here, you've got financial confidence. And finally, if you had your entire financial life completely dialed in, I'd want you to say, what is your vision? Or I want you to have clarity. Clarity of what you're heading, where you're heading, and what you're doing. See, clarity for me meant if I get to a certain spot, I can go with my family. We're going to spend 2 weeks this summer in Italy. We're just going to spend 2 weeks in Italy. We're not coming home for any of that time. And we're just going to enjoy life along the way. I'm not waiting until I have a hip replacement to go do these kind of things. And plus, I'm not the kind of guy that just wants to sit on a beach for, the rest of my life, throwing rocks and drinking a Corona till my liver gives out. I want to take little bursts of that and then come back, because the people who are most successful in this world, their purpose is greater than their profits. There's plenty of people that could have stopped working a long time ago. Does Elon Musk still have to work? Does Bill Gates still have to work? No, but they choose to because they're engaged in something that matters to them. And because they're so powerful in it, there's a lot of money that comes in from that. And there's a certain point where it can't be about the money anymore because they can't spend the amount of money that they have as it is. It's about the impact. And that's what I mean by clarity. Clarity on what you want to do in your life, what you choose to do with your life. And once again, one of the easiest ways for people to get there is when you have financial independence, and let me define that. Financial independence, I might even call it economic independence, is when you have enough recurring revenue, investment income, or entrepreneurial income. And entrepreneurial income would be that income that comes in even if you don't show up to the office, right? Entrepreneurial income isn't the income where you have to be involved with every step of the way and you're the one doing the sales and you're the one building the relationship. It's when you have a team and you've been able to scale the business where some of that income comes in. And you still have to monitor it. You're still responsible. It's not completely mailbox money, but at least if you can go a day, a week, or maybe even a month and that money still comes in, it would classify as entrepreneurial income. When you have enough of that coming into your life to cover your expenses, that's economic independence. Why that's critically important? Anyone in here not select themselves as an entrepreneur, but they married an entrepreneur and thinks a little bit differently than the entrepreneur? Like possibly thinks they're too aggressive, you want more stability than they have to offer. Economic independence means that we don't have to compromise and say, okay, I'm not gonna spend money and invest in my business. I'm gonna make sure that everything goes to the family. No, if you have economic independence, that's the permission slip for you to swing for the fences in what you're doing, knowing that your family is taken care of, you have your foundation handled, that you're going to be okay. You're not going to be out on the streets selling your home or begging for food or having to go to in-laws or any of that kind of stuff, simply because economic independence is a state that most people never achieve in their life because of the accumulation philosophy. The accumulation is set money aside, and then one day, someday, you're going to have a nest egg, and then you get to live off the interest. How brilliant for the 4 rules of institutions, right? Because their belief that wealth comes from, and I'm going to actually write a little bit on this. Their belief is that wealth is an equation. And this will pop up here. So that their belief is it's money. So you've heard the notion it takes money to make money, right? That's not really true. It takes value creation. It takes mental capital. It takes relationship capital. Sure, your money can make money, but it doesn't take money to make money. It takes value. But they'll tell you it takes money, and then that's multiplied by a rate of return. And most of the time when we hear, if you want to get a good rate of return, what are you supposed to do? What do you have to take? High risk. Now, if this were true, we would buy lottery tickets and we'd all be wealthy because that's pretty damn risky, right? But risk is actually defined as chance of loss. So taking higher risk doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to get a higher return. My belief is the further away from your investor DNA that you invest, the more risk you take. So instead, invest what I would call close to home or where you have knowledge. Invest in things that make sense to you. I don't invest in technology because I get in technology conversations where I don't even know what the hell they're talking about. The number of acronyms that they use, holy shit, like what does that even mean, right? So I'm not gonna invest in that.